सभी लोग अपने स्थान पे खड़े हो जाएं। पूज्य महाराज जी आ रहे हैं। हरि ओम स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धसर्वाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु रेखदस्वा मरुतः वृष्टिमातरः शुभं जावानो विदधते खुजगमय्यः अग्निर्जीवामरवः सूरचक्षसो विश्वेनो देवा अवशागमन्निः भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवा भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्जत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गे तुष्टवागुंसस्तनो बिर्वसे महि देवहितं यदायुः शतमिन्नु शरदो अन्ति देवा जत्रा नशक्रा जरशन्तनूनां पुत्राशो यत्र पितरो भवन्ति मानो मद्यारीरिखता युर्गन्तोः अदितिर्द्योरदितिरन्तरिक्षमदित्रिं माता सपिता सपुत्रः विश्वे देवा अदितिः पञ्चजना अदितिर्जातमदितिर्जनित्वं द्योः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगुं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्ति ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वगुं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामा शान्तिरेधिः। ॐ नमस्तुते व्यासि विशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायत पत्रनेत्रे येन त्वया भारततैलकुण्डे प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमया प्रदीपः अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। व्यासाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वे ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवी सरस्वती व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचारूढमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। करारविन्देन पदारविन्दं मुखारविन्दे विनवेशयन्तं वटस्य पत्रस्य पुटे शयानं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि। बोले श्रीमद्-भागवत महापुराण की जय। व्यास जी महाराज की जय। कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय।
सब लोग खड़े हो जाए, आरती करेंगे। सभी लोग आसन लीजिए. Everyone please be seated. मन शांति शांति.
बढ़िया.
मन शांति. With our minds at peace, we contemplate the Divine Lord. And this is sixth session of this Bhagavad Katha, where we will be reciting the glories of Bhagavan Krishna. On Thursday night, we welcome the Divine Lord, Krishna Janam. All of the ensuing nights and the previous nights, we discussed the glories of Bhagavan, the teachings that were given down to humanity, that we can maintain an ongoing relationship with that Divine Lord. Tonight, as we clasp our hands, bow our heads in humility, हाथ जोड़कर, आँख बंद करो, शीश झुकाकर भगवान का ध्यान. ओम श्री साई नमः. ओम श्री सरस्वती नमः. ओम श्री गुरु चरण कमलेभ्यो नमः. सदा परिभवग्ननविष्टदोहम् तीर्थास्पदं शिववीरं सिनुज्वं शरण्यं प्रीत्यात्मं प्रणतपालभवादिपोतं वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम्. वंशी विभूषित करा पीताम्बरधरं बिम्फलाधरोष्टा कृष्णापरं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये. सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः. श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः. सीतानाथसमारम्भा श्रीरामानन्द दयामध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरु परम्परा. वन्दे गुरु परम्परा. गौराङ्गमरसमायं नित्यं रसाचार्य रसोऽस्मिताम् श्रीरामहर्षदेवाकम् जय जय नवल किशोर, जय गोपी चित चोर प्रभु, जय जय माखन चोर, जय जय माखन चोर। बोलो वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की
जय।
Throughout the history of humanity, we as human beings have always been challenged. Challenged in the sense that we feel that we're not getting all the things to bring happiness to our lives. All of us have something that we wanted, we didn't get. Some desires unfulfilled. And we sometimes tend to think, because of A, B, or that situation, it did not happen. We seem to always be wanting something. In this state of wanting something, it is a state when we are not fulfilled. And because we are not fulfilled, although we might have said it was a year ago, I wanted to buy a BMW, and I couldn't afford it. I agree that I cannot afford it, but every year it comes back to my mind, I should have bought a BMW. I wonder if I could get it at a different price now. Because the desire is still there. Desire is our greatest enemy. It does not mean that we must not have a desire for life. It does not mean that we must not have ambition to rise and grow. It does not mean that we should not want to learn more. It means that desire, that which only comes to please our desire, not to fulfill a need. When we're hungry, we must eat. That's a need. When we want to eat Kentucky chicken and give me some names. Burger King and all of that, that's a desire. That's not food. But food we must eat. That's a need. So, or we may want something that is beyond our reach. That's a desire. But our need is to have a comfortable life, to have water, food, clothing and shelter, and to have harmony in our lives. Now the question is, what prevents us from getting what we really need? There is this thing that we call Abhiman. Today I want to start with a bhajan that tells us about this Abhiman. मत कर तू अभिमान बंदे झूठी तेरी शान रे मत कर तू अभिमान present this abhiman quality in our relationships in the world. Mat kare tu abhiman. Do not kare this abhiman. And he says, in this world that we live in, a person who projects abhiman, when they live, people may pretend with them that they like them. But when they leave this world, Rahana Naam and Ishan, it is said that the people who knew them will want to forget their names. Don't remind me of that person anymore, please. Because abhiman is brings such pain to others. So we want to eradicate their names from our minds. It's one thing not to talk to somebody, but to say, I don't want to remember their name anymore. That is even worse. And as such, when someone has abhiman, so what is abhiman? How do we kare abhiman? How do we project this abhiman? From our thoughts, it is seated in our thoughts. Then it comes in our voice, and then it's supported by our actions, or comes from our actions and supported by words. Mansa karama vacha. Abhiman, like bhakti, should be from the mind, in the body, and the words. Abhiman is the same. When we, sometimes you're pretending that, no, I'm thinking it, but I'm not saying it. When you think it, you say it. When you think it, you act it. Have you ever wanted to smile about something and wanted no one to see? What happens? You're smiling inside. What happens on your face? Smile is there. Have you wanted to get angry and you didn't want anyone to see? What happens? The minute you think anger, the face already, as they say, swells up or puffs up or gets long. So the human emotions, immediately the body reacts to it. And then the restraint is, do I say it or don't I say it? Sometimes I say, look, I'm angry with you, so don't let me say it. Right? But I'm already showing anger already. Because in my mind there's anger, in my face there's anger, and I'm trying to restrain my words. Abhiman is like that. When we sit in our mind abhiman, now what is this in terms of that? It is when we are selfish in our undertakings. We must do what we have to do, but we must do it always that it is not I am doing. I must remember, I can do nothing if Bhagavan doesn't provide the oxygen. There is a man during COVID in Ukraine, a very rich, one of the oligarchs, Russians. He got ill with COVID and went to one of the hospitals there. While he was there, he was administered oxygen to help his breathing. So when he was leaving the hospital, they gave him a bill for the oxygen, 20,000 euros. And he said, oh my God, so much for oxygen? And the people said, but you're such a rich man, this shouldn't mean anything to you. He says, I'm not worried about this bill. I'm worried about if that person, if God gave me a bill, all the oxygen I'll be breathing, what kind of bill will that be? Have you ever thought about that? If you get an invoice in the mail one day from Bhagavan, accounts payable department, you're delinquent, you haven't paid for the oxygen you've been breathing all of your life. Can we pay? We never think about it, but it is life, essence of life, but we never pay. And we said, I am this, I am that, I have done this. Can you do anything? Can a car move without fuel? Can anything move without oxygen? As such, Krishna Kanhaiya ki jai. Thus, the human form, our abhiman factor is when we are ignoring that we are nothing and we think we are everything and not recognizing that God is the giver of everything. He who recognizes that God is the giver of everything is humble. And we have said that the humble, the meek shall inherit the earth. Meek here means people who are genuinely humble. Humble people have zero abhiman. Zero abhiman. The bhajan tells us, The term Maya, what does it mean? Is there anyone that you know by the name of Maya? A person? Maybe, but what does it? ये संसार के भगवान के माया जंजाल है. This world is the Lord's net. Now, I'm sure many of us have seen fishermen go into the sea with a big net. And they go into the ocean, they walk, or the fish, and then they cast their nets, and then the fishes are caught in the net. The poet is saying, we are the fishes, and the Maya of the Lord is the net. What is this Maya? Everything we can see, think, feel, envision, experience, want, don't want, everything, good, bad, hate, love, all of the above are the different nets of Maya. We're all caught into this. It doesn't matter who we are. No human being can escape love, care, affection, hatred, greed, false pride. All of this, Bhagwan ka Maya. And he says, Maya, Jyoti Maya, Jyoti, he says, remember, this existence of this world is a temporary situation. Now someone say, Panditji, I'm living a long life. How temporary? Is it not temporary? Is there anyone who can have a guarantee that we will live so long? Do you know anybody is giving that guarantee? I'd like to buy some at that pause. There is no guarantee for how long we will live. And he's saying, do not let this what you see become the things that you live for. I want that, I want this. That's the only thing to do. I must live beyond that. I must see there's more to life than only what I want. The question is, I must want to give also. To give of myself for the betterment of others. He says, do not live like only for wanting for ourselves. This is a false state of existence. He goes on. There are those who have all the jewels and precious gems in the world. Mere man mandir mein jyoti. And then there are those who have the light of divinity of love for God in their mind. Kaun huwa dhanwan de bande. Who's the wealthier of the two? The one who have all the riches in the world, but have no love for humanity and for God? Or is it the one who have all the love for God and humanity, but no, don't pay any attention to the riches of the world? wealth is to be giving. Does the person who have lots of money, can they give constantly? Will it not end one day? But a person who have love, can their love end? Is there a limit to our love? There is unlimited love. And as such, the wealthy of the person is the one, Mere man mandir mein jyoti, was a light of devotion to God. Mat kare tu abhiman. Mat kare tu bring us up to date on where we are.
Sitaram and Namaste, everyone. And welcome to our final evening of Bhagavad Katha. And tomorrow we'll be ending with our Mahahavan in the morning and Sudama Charitra, the story of Sudama as well. For those of you who joined us for the last 2 evenings, yesterday we celebrated Krishna Janmashtami again, and on the previous night as well, for those who celebrated both days, we celebrated the birth of Lord Krishna, and yesterday we also, during our Bhagavad Katha, spoke about the significance of the Govardhan mountain and how it represented the people of that village who are under the leadership of Lord Krishna, how they realized that just because someone in power tells you that what they're doing is the right thing doesn't always mean that it is the right thing. And they realized that the true sacrifice was being made by the Govardhan mountain, and they ended up, in the end, giving obeisances onto the mountain. And today we continue, and today we have a very special katha about Rukmini Viva. And as Panditji mentioned earlier, that katha not only talks about the marriage ceremony, but so much many more life lessons. Because marriage, as we know, is not just the actual day, that marriage ceremony, and then after that, it's just, a big party. It's marriage, and then life really sets in. And so we learn about what that marriage ceremony meant, and the characters involved, and how life unravels after marriage. So thank you once again for joining us, and we hope that you join us tomorrow as well. Sitaram Namaste.
Sisha. Thank you, Indira. For those of you who may not know, Indira is my eldest daughter, and we tend to call her Didi at home. So I'm called up sometimes, should I say Didi or should I say Indira? So we will stick with Didi, because everybody else knows her in the family as Didi. So thank you, Didi, for bringing us up to date. We continue tonight with that part of the Bhagavad Katha that talks about Rukmini Viva. The title basically says Rukmini's wedding. But this Katha is not about the wedding. This Katha is about the wanting of the devotee to connect with the divine. The wanting of the devotee to connect with the divine. Well, let us see how Vedyas presents this Katha and how Sri Sukadevji Maharaj is relating this Katha to Raja Parikshit. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Rajasiddha Vishmokana Vadrabha Pitari Mahan Tasya Panchabhavan Putra Tarika Chavarana Kalka Chavarana Sri Krishna
Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah.
He says there was once a great king by the name of Bhishmika. And he was a great king who ruled very well. And the king had a family of 6 children, 5 sons and 1 daughter. 5 sons and 1 daughter. Now that's quite challenging. That 1 daughter will be quite special, wouldn't she? She will be the one who will get away with everything, who will be the love of her father's eye. The sons, of course, are always the love of all the mother's eyes. So, let's see what are their names and what do they represent. Rukme argo rukmarto rukma bahu antara rukma keso rukma mali rukmini isha swasati rukmini isha swasati Sri Krishna
Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah.
The eldest son was called Rukmi, not Rukmini, Rukmi. The second was called Rukmaratha. The third, Rukma Bahu. The fourth, Rukma Kesha. And the fifth, Rukma Mali. Rukma Mali. And the daughter's name was Rukmini. Now, the names were given, like all fathers, they all started with Ru. Sometimes when children are all given the first names, parents don't understand that there's a reason for that first names. And many of us say, how come all the children have the same first name? Notice all of his sons have the same alphabet beginning names, Ru. And the daughter also is Ru. Because of the nakshatra, the family and how the children are born, they might be given additional name, but the first alphabet is Ru. Krishna Kanaya Lal. Now, the poet is telling us about this family. This great king with his wonderful family, of course, had a daughter who's eligible for marriage in the name of Rukmini. Bhagwan Krishna, of course, have retired to build a palace in a place called Dwarika, and there he's hearing about all the news around him. And news came to him about this great princess, this beautiful princess. We are told. Suparasturaya mukundasya rupa viraya gunasriya grahagate dyamanasa tamine sadar sampatim tamine sadar sampatim Sri Krishnaya
Vasudevaya Govindaya Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah.
The news came to the palace of where Krishna Bhagavan was the reigning regent, that how there is this beautiful lady in this kingdom called Rukmini, and Krishna thought she will make a good queen. To his mind he thought of this. But in the palace of where Bhishmika, who had 5 sons and a daughter, there's a different scenario playing out. What is the scenario? In every family, when they are brothers and sisters, especially the elder brother, especially in the Hindu tradition, elder brother has a big say in the lives of the other brothers and sisters. Whether the elder brother, the elder sister, the elder one always gets the privilege of taking over the role of mother and father. They carry the burden of looking after the other siblings even when mother and father are alive. In the same situation, Rukmi, the eldest son, the brother, he had a say in what's supposed to happen. Although Rukmini, in her mind, she also heard about Lord Krishna and she thought, that would be a nice marriage for me. Here is what her brother is thinking about her. Bandhuna miksatamudatu Krishnaya bhagini nipra Tato nivarya Krishna vidit Rukmi kaidam amangata Rukmi kaidam amangata Sri Krishnaya vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo Sri Krishnaya vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namo. Because of a previous confrontation between this royal family and the royal family of Bhagavan Krishna, Rukmi, the elder brothers, forbade any member of the family to have anything to do with the Krishna family. Sounds familiar? There is a issue for a generation ago, and this generation said, it will have nothing to do with that family. They did so and so and so and so, and you are not to talk to anybody from that family. So Rukmini was given the order, nobody is to talk to, even contemplate the idea of building a relationship with Krishna. My sister Rukmini will marry who I choose. Does that still happen? Yes, it does. There are many young ladies and young men who are waiting to get married and their parents' permission is required, and the parents may also say, no, you cannot get married to this and A and B and C, and they have a privilege. The parents and the elders have that right to guide their siblings in this manner. So there's nothing wrong with me deciding who is sister to marry, but the reason he's deciding is not because Krishna is not good looking, it's not because he doesn't come from a good family, it's because he doesn't like him. They are not getting along with my family, I don't like him, I don't like that family. You don't like him? Does he have the qualities? Does he possess everything? And so on. So sometimes when we make a declaration about people, we must be non-judgmental. We must not make our judgment. I don't like them. Why? I just don't like them. That's not good enough. You must look at everyone, and if you have to declare about them, judge them by their character and who they are, not by your likes and dislikes. How would you like someone to say, well, you've got all the education, you've got all the qualifications for the job, but I'm not going to hire you because I don't like you. Do I qualify? Well then fine, give me the job. Do I qualify? Then give me the role. Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai. We have to understand the true essence of this structure of this katha. Bhishmika, a father of 5 sons and 1 daughter. If one envisions the 5 senses, our sense of sight, hearing, smell, taste and touch, these 5 sons represents these Pancha Jnanendriyas. And Rukmini represents the Atma. The Atma is always wanting to reach out, to connect to God. Bhagavan Krishna represents the Supreme Personality. Rukmini is in love with Krishna. You and I are in love with Krishna. Every man, woman and child is in love with Krishna. But we are restrained from connecting or marrying to Krishna, meaning building a long-lasting, everlasting relationship with Krishna because of our Panch Jnanendriyas. The Panch Jnanendriyas pull us in different attention. We see this we smell that, we taste this, we feel this emotion, and we are pulled in different directions. Rukmini is pulling in one direction, the other brother is pulling in that direction, and everybody's pulling in that direction, and she wants to be with Krishna. The true Atma wants to be with God. Our desires are pulling us in different directions. Our desires that are stimulated by the affection. You know, I smell something, I want to go that direction. I see something, I want to go that direction. I hear something, I want to go to that direction. So these Panchagyan Indriyas are the representations that are represented by the 5 sons. And Rukmini is the soul. We're all Rukminis. And we all want to be with Krishna. But sometimes you have to break down the barriers to get to Krishna. Rukmini wants to get to Krishna. So she decides, since my brother does not want me to marry to Krishna, and do not look upon it as marriage, I want to connect with Krishna. I want to be his devotee. I want him to take me into his arms. Hey Prabhu, Anand Data, take me into your arms, O Lord, and caress me. I want you to love me, Lord. I want to be with you. Rukmini wants that kind of relationship with Lord. And he says, if I'm married to him, I have that relationship. In every Vivah Sanskar, every young lady is marrying Vishnu Bhagavan. The groom is treated like Vishnu Bhagavan by the father of the bride in the Var Puja. And the father of the bride is treating the groom like Vishnu Bhagavan because his daughter is Lakshmi. And as such, every woman marries Krishna or marries Vishnu Bhagavan because he's a sustaining force of life, and together with Vishnu and Lakshmi, progeny and prosperity comes. Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai. Taking the Katha literally is not what is meant. We must take it philosophically, and then we'll understand the value. Thus, when Rukmini found that she could not convince her brother, we cannot, our senses are too powerful, our eyes have seen, our ears have heard, our nose has smelled, we want that. The Atma is caught. The power of the materialism is so powerful, it's pulling us away. I really don't, but I'm being pulled to that. My conscience says go this way, but my desires are pulling me that way. This is a battle between the conscience, the divine consciousness, and our desires. That is why I chanted the bhajan today, Mat Kar Tu Abhiman. When our Abhiman is prevalent, we lose connection to Bhagavan. When we reduce our Abhiman, we increase our connection to Bhagavan. You know, the analogy of Abhiman was given about a Spanish onion. Everybody know what's a Spanish onion? It's very big and it's kind of purple. It is very pungent. You know, onions have layers. Imagine you hold the onion in your hands and you pull one layer off. You start crying right away. Your eyes are running water. The acidity from the onion is making your eyes run, but you're not really crying, right? You say, yes, it's such a sweet, and you're eating the onion. You eat one level and you're eating. What are you eating? You must eat your ego like this. It will be tearful. You'll be crying while you're eat it. Swallow our egos. Consume it and suppress it. And then when we cry, it will be a joyful tear that we have consumed our ego. Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai. So we need to devise a strategy. I need to get a message to Bhagavan. Now, when we want to do puja, We all do puja at home. But then when we want specific puja, we call a Pandit, a Purohit, to come and he conducts the puja, and we call him a Brahmana. The Brahman comes, conducts the puja, and he is the one who helps us to connect to God. He's like the one who takes our vision and said, let me send this message for you. I'm sending you a message. When they do the sankalp, call your name and the place, and you go to them. They say, Bhagwan, it is this person. I am merely the sender of the message. Please receive their message. I'm saying I'm the messenger. Rukmini goes to the Brahman to deliver a message. She gives the Brahman a message and tell him, you go to Krishna and deliver my message. By the way, the message is not written down. Because remember, that was not the way the message was told. The deliverer of the message has not only to say the words of the message, but to deliver the message with the emotions of the giver of the message. That is, if the message have tears, the deliverer must cry. If it have love, the deliverer must be loving. If it have laughter, the deliverer must be the person delivering the message. Have you not seen this in some movies? When the person says, okay, I have a message from so-and-so, and they start saying, I love you, and they're talking the words of the other person. They're not saying they said this and they said that. They become in person the person delivering the message. So the Brahman goes to Bhagavan Krishna, and he's received instantly, because the God, Divine Lord, knows everything. And the Brahmana, the Lord inquires about his welfare, and Bhagavan Krishna welcomes the Brahmana as if he's divinity. Bhagavan Krishna, who's divine, receives the Brahmana, washes his feet, and massages his feet. And while he's massaging his feet, he's saying, how are you doing? You've come from very far. You came from Bhishmika's kingdom? Is everything good in the kingdom over there? How are they treating the Brahmins? Now the Lord is asking, this is the katha, the Lord is asking these questions. He's trying to inquire about the well-being of the citizens of that kingdom. And of course the Brahmin says, no, you're all treated very well. King Bhishmika is a very, very renowned king, and he treats all his subjects equally. And he says, then so what has brought you here? And then the Brahmin says, I have a special message to you from Rukmini. Of course, the Lord acted surprised. Bhagavan knows all of us need him. It's like, oh my, really? Does Rukmini need me? All of us need him. But he treats every one of us special. You know, if you have 5 daughters, you have to tell all of them they're special. Don't you? When you're talking to one of them, oh, you're the best. The next one, you're the best. But when they get together, all of you are the best children. So Bhagavan is telling, oh, Hamsa Bhagavan ka sampan hai. He's telling everyone, and he's surprised that Rukmini needs him. He knows Rukmini needs him. Is there anything he doesn't know? And he knows the desire is not a sensual desire, the desire is a spiritual desire. So Rukmini's message was very simple. Rescue me. Steal me away from my senses. Steal me away from my senses. For my senses are restraining me. My senses are my graha. My senses are my graha. My desires stimulated by my senses are my graha. Oh Lord, steal me away so that I can be closer to you and be removed from the graha of my senses. This is the essence of Rukmini Katha. And we are told that the Lord arranged it on the day of our marriage. A code was set up that at a certain time he will arrive at a certain place. You know how it goes, right? A certain place, and you will get the cue, and when that flag goes up, you make your exit, and I'll be there to take you on my chariot and fly your way to the heavenly abode. Only if we can do this and connect to God. Rukmini sent a message. The Lord says, set a place and time and date that you will connect with me. When we become one with the Lord, what is our connection? When we give up the materialistic things, what is that departure called? Bolo? What is it called? When we give up materialism, what is that departure called? We're not here. Nice way of putting it. We're not here in this world. The body becomes secondary, and this Atma becomes primary. That connection with Bhagavan, we cast away the body. We cast off this body and the Atma travels. So we can think Rukmini getting married, she goes away to human body, goes away on a honeymoon. This, Rukmini says, I want to run away from my senses. They are controlling me. These senses are all part of this body makeup. Take me, O Lord, take me away from these senses. So the Atma is becoming one with the Lord. Rukmini marries Bhagavan Vishnu. Like every female soul wants to marry Bhagavan Vishnu and becomes one with the Lord. We may call it death, but we will call it moksha also. We can have moksha while we are here. Moksha here is when we live in this world and we're not a victim of our senses. We are totally attached to Bhagavan. And that is moksha here. We are told that we are receiving 4 fruits when we come into this world. Dharma, Arth, Kam or Moksha. Dharma means religious merit. Artha, we have opportunity to take everything, the value that brings pleasure to us. Kama, realizing all of the sensuality of the world. And Moksha, oneness with God. We have it when we arrive. And if we have it when we arrive, why is Rukmini looking for it? We have it, but the senses separates us from it. Because when we become victim of our senses and our desires, we disconnect from God. Like when a child goes out into the world and gets involved in all of the sensuality of the world and materialism of the world, the connection between the parents dwindles. The affection by the parent for the child is not lesser. The child's affection is lost in the same, taken for granted. Oh, my parents know I love them. The child is engaged in everything else but staying connected to the parents. You and I, hum sab Bhagwan ko santan hai. We all, because of our desires, drift away from Bhagwan. And then suddenly when we are challenged, Rukmini was challenged. Rukmini, her brother, says, no, I want to tie you to Shishupala, another personality who represents the demigodic, the dharmic concepts. And she wants to be with the dharmic concept. And she says, I must take evasive action. And she says, God, come and rescue me. So today our katha is about the rescue of Rukmini. The Vivah is merely a part of the play. Bhagavan rescues all of us. He doesn't only rescue females, He rescues male and female. We are all seeking His arms of protection. And because why? Hamaru dhan Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Over the last couple of days. We must remember that in Bhagavad Puran, Sri Sukdev Ji Maharaj, the son of Ved Vyasa, is reciting the Bhagavatam to Raja Parikshit. Raja Parikshit have been cursed by Shringi Rishi that the snake Takshat, the king of the serpent, will bite him in 7 days from that time and he will die. Raja Parikshit says, if I'm going to die, I want to know how I should spend my last days. What should I be doing? What should I be engaged in? How should I engage myself? Sri Sukadeva Ji Maharaj says to him, in these 7 days, listen to the glories of God and detach yourself from all things and connect to Bhagavan, like Rukmini, to be rescued by Bhagavan. And we've gone through so many different kathas, whereby we saw the katha of Gajendra, the elephant, and the graha pulling him down. Gajendra represents ego at its height. And egoism can always be defeated. There is always a graha. But the analogy between Gajendra and the graha is, graha means that which holds us back. You have a graha, it's an obstruction in your life. In all of our lives, Nirodha, the concept of what prevents you from connecting with God. Throughout the Bhagavad Katha, we're saying these are the things that will prevent you to get to God, and here are the things you must do to get to God. So, in order to overcome Nirodha or the Graha, you must have Bhakti, devotion to God. Bhakti overcomes all of the Abhiman, and all of this concept is continuously told by different kathas. Today, then we heard about Govardhan, and Raja Indra, he represents ego. In the case of Raja Parikshit and Bhishika, Rishi Bhishika, and his son the Rishi, we have the 3 modes of the human persona. Rishi Bhishika is the sattvic state of mind. Raja Parikshit represents the egotistical state of mind, and Shringi Rishi represents the animalistic state, the egotistic, not the ego, but the id state, whereby doing things without thinking. Raja Parikshit, out of anger and ego, throws a snake around the neck of Bhishika, the great Rishi. The Rishi was not even offended, doesn't even know, didn't care, didn't bother him. The son found out about it. In anger, ignorance, he retaliated and pronounced a curse. What the entire Bhagavatam is showing us, human nature. If we control it, it can take us to heaven. If we allow it to control us, we are never to enter the gates of moksha. Throughout all of these katha, tonight including, it is always, we want to escape. The Atma is crying out to Bhagavan Krishna, rescue me, my Lord, rescue me. But in order for the Lord to rescue us, we have to remove the barriers. He's there. He's within us at all times. Let us leave here with this thought clear. In Hinduism, we're not going towards God. We're not on a journey towards God. We're on a journey with God. Because God is with us from day one. Although we are on a journey with God, you know, many people walk together on the same road, but they don't talk to each other. They live in the same house, they don't talk to each other. But we're together. God is with us, but are we connected? Are we holding hands? Are we saying, please hold my hands, touch me to make sure you're there? Or pinch me to make sure you're there? Or advise me, please, tell me what to do? You know, there's a movie about a man who's talking to an invisible rabbit. And he's having a conversation. And then he's saying, who are you talking to? He said, oh, it's him. And they think he's crazy. You and I talk to each other. Talk to our conscience, they said. The conscience of Bhagavan. Thus, all of the katha, Raja Parikshit, all true, are presenting the 3 modes of the human persona. It's talking about the senses and the 3 modes. The gunas, Panch Gyanendriyas. All of these is what's considered all of the katha. Kans, what does he represent? The highest form of ego. Do you know that Kans really, since the time Kans heard that he'll be killed by the 8th son, you know, he can't sleep every night. Who is he thinking about? Krishna? Day and night, he's waiting. He's thinking about Krishna so often. He's devoted to Krishna, but he's thinking of Krishna out of fear. But you know, that out of that fear, he knows that he's going to come. And eventually, the Lord comes and Kansa gets absolution. But Kansa could not stop thinking about Krishna. Sometimes when you hate someone, you really love them. Because if you spend some time thinking about someone all the time and you say you hate them, why don't you love them instead? It's not going to cost you anything more. But by the way, you remember, if you're hating someone, the other person goes to bed sleeping at night very happy, and you are not sleeping, just hating them. So why don't you love them, they'll still go to bed sleeping happy, and you are going to be happy too. Krishna Kanaya Lal Ki. Now let me ask this. Usually in Bhagavad Katha, or any Katha, we have prashan. Is there anyone here who would like to ask a question? The question would be relevant to our culture and relevant to maybe Bhagavad Katha. Don't ask me why I'm wearing a white kurta. That's not a question. Don't ask me why my hair is grey. It's obvious I dyed it to be grey. I didn't want it to be black. You all know that, right? So don't ask me those questions. Ask questions relevant to the Katha. Anyone? Any questions? Don't be afraid. Put your hands up if you want to ask a question. Prashant? Huh? Acha, dhanyavad. Did anyone bring prasad to offer that was not offered? Please, Tiwari. This brings us to the conclusion of our Katha tonight. I take pride and with great humility invite all of you to join us tomorrow for the Sampuran of this yajna. Now, I know that there is a weather warning and we are supposed to have some stormy weather tonight and maybe a little bit tomorrow. And we have not set up the mandap outside for the Havanas yet because we're waiting to see, the wind is too heavy. All plans are made for Havan to start. Tomorrow morning, we will start Havan at 11. We will start Bhagavad Katha at 10 o'clock. At 9:30 to 10, Puja will be there. And Katha will start at 10. Then we finish Katha, and then Havan to be followed as a Sampuran. I invite you all to come and to be involved in the Sampuran. We will hear the Katha of Sudama and Krishna, two friends. One, the divinity, the other, the devotee. You will understand that how the Lord views His children, you and I, and how we should view the Lord. And we will understand that although we may not have materialistic wealth, how in the book of Bhagwan, how we are so closely related. There is a beautiful katha about Hanuman Naradaji and Bhagavan Vishnu. Naradaji is called a celestial sage who is usually a provocator. He provokes situation. He creates the environment so you can worry about things. So once Narad Muni and Hanumanji were in Vaikunth Lok and they were about to visit Bhagavan Vishnu. So Naradaji says to Bhagavan Vishnu, he says, you know, the Lord has a guest book, you know. And Hanuman says, really? Didn't know that. He says, I am in that book, you know. I'm very special. So Hanumanji says, oh really? That's good. Well, Naradaji goes and makes a visitation to Bhagavan Vishnu and comes back. He says, he's number one to me and I'm his number one. Naradaji is trying to make Hanuman feel like, you know, he's number two. Hanumanji said, you saw the Lord? He said, did you notice on his desk, he has a little red book? You didn't notice that? That's a book, only special names are inside. My name is in that book. So all of us remember, Bhagavan treats us all special. We must all feel we are special, but never feel we are more special than the other person. Because Bhagavan sees us all. हम सब भगवान को संतान हैं। कृष्ण के दयालाल की जय। सत्य सनातन धर्म की। We invite you to join us for Havan tomorrow. We hope that the rain will fall because the grass needs it. It will all be calm by tomorrow. The clouds will not be so cloudy, and we'll have a wonderful day of the Sampuran of the Shajna. And you will be able to do Havan individually. Even if you do not book and you come tomorrow and you want to do Havan, just go to the people who are there arranging it, let them know, and we'll allow you. Husband and wife and children, let's come together. Saparivar, you know, husbands, when you got married, in the Sat Vachan, you are told, Tirta Vratoda Panayagyadanam Maya Sayaya Kari Karma Kuya Bhamangamaya Mitdatvadiyam Jagatavakyam Pratamam Kumari. The bride says to the groom, Tirtha Vrata Yagyadan. Whenever you're involved in any of these things, you must consult me, and if practical, I must accompany you at all of these undertakings. So, we must remember that husbands doing things with your wife, wife doing things with your husband, together, collectively, is the way that is prescribed. Krishna Kanaya Lala Ki Jai. Sabhi tayar? Aarti. So now, we will invite everyone to stand for Aarti. Sabhi log kare ho jaye. Aarti Kunja Bihari ki. Listen to the scale. Natarajan, low scale. Vasudeva Sutam Deva Kansachandra. Everyone is entitled to do Aarti. These are the shlokas, but there are extra thalis there. You can also proceed to do Aarti. Vasudeva Sutam Deva Kamsachandra Mandir Devaki Paramananda Krishna Vande Jagat.
Shri
सभी लोग हाथ जोड़कर, बच्चों सुनो और देखो, हाथ जोड़कर in front of our chest. Let everyone know that this is the way we pray. We bow our heads. As we offer our concluding prayers today, we thank the Lord for the privilege of being able to gather in this Mandir tonight and to listen to His glories. We appeal to you, Bhagavan, to be our constant guidance, our sustenance and protection as we continue to live in your world. Tonight, I ask you to listen to the voice of Didi as she will lead us in closing prayers. शीश झुकाकर धरती पर प्रणाम. We bow our heads touch in the ground.
गुरुर् ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. बोले सियापति रामचंद्र भगवान की, पवन पुत्र हनुमान की, राधा कृष्ण भगवान की, गणपति भगवान की, लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान की, सरस्वती माता की, शंकर भगवान की, जगदम्बे मैया की. बोलिए सब संतन की जय. बोलिए सद्गुरुदेव महाराज की. अपने अपने माता पिता की, धर्म की, अधर्म का प्राणियों में विश्व का कल्याण. धरती माता की जय. भारत माता की जय. नमः पार्वती पते. हर हर महादेव. हर हर महादेव. श्री राधे. जय जय श्री राधे.
जय जय श्री राधे.
जय जय श्री राधे.
लाल की
जय. श्रीमद्-भागवत महापुराण की व्यास जी महाराज की जय, कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय।
धन्यवाद। मन शांति, आसन लीजिए, आराम करें।